2 weeks ago, ANF has declared that we have 17 million drug users in Pakistan. In 2015, there was 8.9 million drug users. Pakistan still have not done a legislation on private rehabilitation centers. It's not following the international standard of treatment. It's not me saying the sport is the solution for it. It's scientific, because when you are physically engaged, you develop the positive hormones inside you, the dopamine, the endorphin. The truth is that whatever you cannot live without, apart from food, is something that is not right.
At Empty Out Loud, Jahan Bas Baat Kar Do, we are breaking the silence today. Drug abuse is a worldwide problem. It's stealing our futures, devastating lives and families, and putting so much burden on our health systems. Today, at Empty Out Loud, we are asking why this crisis is growing, why there are millions of users, and why so few are getting help. We are going to be exploring who is fueling this menace, what response is actually missing, and who is stepping up to make a difference. To talk about this issue, we are joined by Cristina von Sperling Afridi. She is the chairperson of Karim Afridi Welfare Foundation. Cristina has been living in Pakistan since 26 years. She's from Brazilian origin and married to Mr. Tariq Afridi. She has been awarded Tamgha Imtiaz and Dame of the Order of Rio Branco. Welcome, Cristina, to Empty Out Loud.
Nice to be here.
Could you share with us, how did you really get involved with prevention and drug abuse awareness raising?
Well, this is a personal story. 11 years ago, my son, 19 years old, had gone to a party and with a recreational drug, it didn't really work. He took ecstasy and he got sick and choked to death. So it was my only son. That's the reason that actually when this happened, one doesn't know what to do completely, because your mind is and everywhere, and had lost the reason really to be in Pakistan and to keep the family, the nucleus together. So I had to rethink about my own life, how I'm going to do so. You may know that I had business before, and I thought that life definitely will not be the same. So therefore I decided that I will make a foundation in his name, that the foundation in his name will make him live as long the foundation is there. So we are living together, sort of. This is the way to make it his life and his death an example to others, to the youth. That's not the right path. Even if it's recreational, you don't know what's happened to your body, and it could be just once and you are gone. So he is gone, he's in heaven, but we are suffering, the people that they are left behind. And this became so common now. Therefore, it's very important that we keep up with our mission, and hope that the community also get together, because alone, of course, we keep on doing, because that's our work. Prevention, awareness, work in the education institution, because we are close to the youth. But we cannot, it's not like that. It is a society problem. It's a community problem that each one has their role to play.
So Karim Afridi Welfare Foundation was born 11 years ago.
Yes.
The core mission I would like you to outline.
Yes, actually, He died 11 years ago, and the 10 years we're commemorating this year of the foundation. It was exactly 1 year after that we launched the foundation. Basically, it's helping the youth identify, understand, and manage emotions. Because we all been there, adolescents we are full of problems. We were full of problems. When we are in this period, in fact, when I talk to them in schools, I say that these are the worst period of one's life. 7 years of uncertainty, 7 years of wondering, 7 years of temptation, curiosity. So they're all there. So when our motto is identify, understand, and manage emotion, is that many times when you are adolescents, the hormones are playing havoc inside you, and you do not understand. If you do not identify what's happened to your body because you are growing up and reflecting emotions due to this period, you will think that you are unhappy. Because it's sometimes when you're adolescent, so how many times one cries without reason. I say that if you have food on your table, if you have clothes to wear, you have no problem. But if we do not know that the hormones are really playing a havoc inside us, we will not know how to manage. Therefore, we guide them to get to know yourself, what's going on in reality, and how you can overcome that.
This is a very interesting point that you have raised, that, the hormones are playing up. But there should be some other root causes as well. Is it also the peer pressure, or is it some trauma that they feel that, an unseen trauma is playing up with them? Or is it just a general hopelessness? Or is it availability of these drugs as well?
It's all a combination of what you said. But definitely, there are those brutal elements that inflict terrible harm. Therefore, the trauma will be there. And the perception that you taking drugs, you're going to solve your problem, which is not true. And then obviously we have, as I say, the curiosity of the youth. We have the peer pressure as well. We have the influencers, the social media influencers. And and we have, it's a combination in the availability. There are countries that are much more serious about to this issue, dealing to this issue. But there are other countries that I might say we are not, we want to eradicate, but we are not doing the way that I believe it could be done better. It's very difficult. We say our compartment should be define, like who is working with prevention, the campaign, that's an endless campaign that has to be there, and the other ones, the law enforcement agencies, So each one are doing that, but not enough. Not enough, because when we talk about the official figure of drug addicts in Pakistan, the official figure was in 2013, which is more than 10 years ago, by the UNODC. Then in 2015, there was the anti-narcotic force, DG, then, and the standing committee at the Senate. He said that there was 8.9 million drug users. And just now, two weeks ago, the ANF has declared that we have 17 million drug users in Pakistan. So it's not a joke.
That's not.
This is a figure that you have, which probably is more than that. But if you talk about 17 million youth, I always say that the drug issues, not in the world, but specifically of Pakistan, because of the geopolitical situation, is a national security threat. Who is inflicting that? Is it a self-inflict? It is someone's doing? Because if I capture your mind, I capture body. So when you talk about the geopolitical situation, is that one should not forget about the Opium War inflicted by the British in China.
Yes.
I've been invited twice by the government of China, and I see that they don't joke about drugs, because to get out of that situation, it was very difficult. Once you are there, it's very difficult. So it's a disease of the mind. If I capture your youth, I capture your future, I capture your land, so you are in my hands. Basically, it's that. So it's a very serious issue. It's not only a family problem. It's, for me, in my view, it's much more.
Most parents don't even know that their children are trying out drugs or the children are hooked on to drugs. As a parent, what would you be advising other parents? What are the elements they can see in their child that they should talk about it then?
Well, frankly, in my case, for instance, I never thought that my son was going to do any kind of wrong thing, because we come from a very open house, that we talk about everything. But again, we go back to the adolescent's curiosity, no, and the peer pressure, or the cool thing to do at that time. Despite of Karim's death, I'm one of the lucky parents that have not to have to pass years taking their loved one to rehabilitation center. So, and I know many of the cases that it is an endless drain of emotions and finance. I constantly receive calls from parents to say that where should I take them? Unfortunately, I've been talking about this. Pakistan still have not done a legislation on private rehabilitation centers. This is mushrooming. This became like a torture game. The families are suffering through this because you don't know how to rehabilitate. You don't know really what to do. And if someone say, go to that place, you go. And then what I've been seeing here, it's not following the international standard of treatment. So therefore, that's 3 months of the sedation, and you pay 5 lakhs per month. And then, of course, he goes back home, and then he will meet the same people and back to the same thing. So it's a continuous business, which it's very sad.
So why is it that the government is not taking on the legislation on
Look, Aliya,
rehabilitation?
I have spoken to many people and politicians saying this is a very good idea. Of course, you should have this, that. But from great ideas, only a good idea when you implement it. I cannot implement it. I cannot create this. I initiate, in fact, with some young lawyers, how we were going to go about the legislation that are regarded not only with the drug addiction, but with the mental health, because it's linked. The government, they say that we are going to focus on this and we must do this. We will have what we have. I live in Banigala, and Banigala now became a harbor of a rehabilitation center. We have 10 there. So who is doing the check and balance of the people, of the medical, and what kind of treatment they are doing? So you don't know. So if you do not have a legislation for this accountability, you have it's a business like any other one.
You work quite closely with anti-narcotics teams. What does that collaboration look like on ground for you?
Yeah, well, basic anti-narcotic force is enforcement agency. And sometimes I just say that if there was no drug, there would be no addiction, because I think quite a mathematic like that. The availability makes, of course, the temptation is there. And then you have, 154 million, that's the contingent in Pakistan, below age of 30. We are not engaged in the youth. And what we all the time advocate is for the youth engagement. If you can see the team that we had sent to the last Olympics, it's not to accept at all. A population of 154 million below, you sent 7 people, 1 javelin that did himself, trained himself, and he brought glory to Pakistan, 2 swimmers and 4 shooters. This is not a team, this is not a delegation of a country with this population. It's unacceptable. So schools, education institutions also are not following the policies. No one is pursuing, like, for instance, sports. We have a program that called Sport is the Answer. Just talking on this regard of this, the solutions of for not to be there with your mind wandering. It's sport is the answer. It's clearly said that any education institution should have a minimum of 4 hours of physical education. Failing to do so should be shut. Now you go, people are investing so much in IT, and the humans aspect has been completely thing. It's not me saying that sport is the solution for it. It's scientific.
Yes.
Because when you are physically engaged, you develop the positive hormones inside you, the dopamine, the endorphin. If we do not focus on that, on our youth, we will not expect, because today the stimulation and the dopamine come from the influences of the IT, of your mobile. Depends where you're going to hook, because there are various groups that stimulate this thing to you, that you identify, and many of times are the wrong stimulation, the wrong identification. You can see this most watched film that called Adolescence, and the word right now that you do not know your own child in your own house, because he's at home, he's in his bedroom, but his influence is not from the household. The influence is from the groups that he found through the net.
For our viewers, we want to tell you that dopamine is actually a chemical produced in the body that gives you a very happy feeling, but it's a very short term. So every time you are scrolling through your social media, dopamine kind of hits the brain and gives you that pleasure feeling. This pleasure feeling is also triggered by drugs, and you get hooked onto it. So it's very addictive. I would like to ask you now about schools, the role of schools. And many of these are fancy schools where these drugs are very rampant. These are party drugs. What are schools actually doing? Are they forthcoming to, let's say, your foundation and all that?
You see, Aliya, we were the first one who opened a dialogue in the society. As you see, it's a big stigma on this, big taboo on this subject. No one wants to talk about. When you see a 19 years old or 8 years old died, and the family will not say what is the reason. They will say heart attack. I mean, unless you have a genetic problem, then of course 18 years old will die with heart attack. Otherwise, no, it's drugs. Let's face it, it's drugs. When my son died, his own friend said, "Oh, auntie, why you say that he died because he took drug?" I said, "What do you want me to say?" He will say, "Oh, you can say that he had a car accident." I said, "Are you fool? Isn't time for you to, to realize that this is not the way, this is not the path that you should follow?" So, there is lots of taboo that we talk on. So we became like a cushion between the family and the education institutions. What we say, the education institutions do not like to address, and the parents don't address. Some schools, many of them that we've been working with them now for 10 years, but they should do more, because this awareness is education. It's a constant reminder that don't put your finger there, don't go there. And so anyways, they should do more. They should do more. And because of the complexity of the culture, of course, someone will say, if we talk about drugs, they will get alert. No, it's not like this. I mean, the innocence era is gone. Now, I say 4 years old knows everything because they all have a smartphone, because that's what the parents had given to them, to be quiet, to let them in their own smartphone. And that's reality. We all hooked in our phones. But we have to revisit this way to live in families. We have to go outdoors. When I talk about sport is the answer, that's only activities that you are present. Your mind and body are in harmony. You are there. You cannot be playing volleyball and think about your problems. You are there, present there. So physical education, it's so important from the beginning. When I talk about the Olympiads, I repeatedly say that and ask them who are the countries leading the world and what are their position in the chart of the Olympic chart in the world. They are top because the physical, body and mind is one. So you are focused. See China, United States, there are a lot of problems there as well. But Russia, this all physical activity oriented, and when you go to see their athletes are out of this world. So we have the potential. We have to use more. We have to make really compulsory. It used to be compulsory. Now no, you have a choice.
It's interesting that you're also providing a solution. You're saying that reforms should include compulsory physical education and opportunities for sports, because this is one way that our youth will feel more normalized, and those hormones can actively make the body healthier rather than create all sorts of things in the mind. I'm going to ask you that, okay, we do have a solution here, but what about the punitive measures that we promote for young offenders? Do you agree for that?
I just came from Singapore. I was attending the Asia Pacific Forum Against Drug Abuse there. And I visited the prisons there. So you have to decide, is it an offense or not? Is it a crime or not? So we cannot be wish-wash with this subject. I believe, and I've been also to China, invited by the government there. I have seen how they treat the thing. It is a crime. In Singapore, the thing they say, it is a crime, and you're going to pay for it. Because you should know that drug abuse, we don't accept it. Now, when you pay for it, whatever offense you did, 1 year, 2 years, 3 months, or thing, while you were in jail, you've been rehabilitated, which is very good. It's not that you are lingering in jail if your offense is 3 years or 1 year, or that you're just sitting there eating and going to sleep. No, your time is being used to rehabilitate. And I think this is the best formula it is, if you believe that drugs are crime. I think we could do this here as well, reproduce what they are doing successfully with the youth. We, as a KKAWF, we don't believe in legalization. We believe in prevention and rehabilitation. This thing that the world is pushing, that is harm reduction, it's a maintenance of addiction, which we don't believe. That's the line of our foundation. We believe that we have to prevent. Prevent is the wisdom. But again, prevention has no form. But the consequence, yes. And it is in the consequence that you make business, selling the drug, rehabilitating, and forever dependent in medical things. So that's the consequence. So we don't want to be there, but we will not abandon whoever has gone there. But this of exchange of syringes and it's as I went to some conference here that I could not tolerate some foreigners that came here and said that it is okay to have drugs. No, it's not okay. How dare you come here in Islamic Republic, Pakistan, and say that your line, it's okay to have drugs? No, you should not be here influenced badly, because this is not okay. You look good because you don't have drugs. So you have energy. I mean, you can create a family. You have it. A drug addict is a very serious problem. And you have to realize that that glamour is not there, because this is the stereotype that it's deadly for the youth, no? Because when you go to these films, and I blame a lot entertainment industry for this, you go to this film, that guy, which is the cool guy, he is a drug dealer. He's rich. He has a nice cars, women beside them. So it is that for the younger boy, that is wow. That is the portrait that you would like to have. Rich, nice cars, and women around. So that's what they sell. No, this is not glamorization. And that's why our foundation makes sure that the life, you can glamorize your life without drugs. Why should you be dependent and fomenting industries and of these drug dealers, I mean, and destroying yourself? So it's a bit like we teach also life skills, it's a critical thinking. You have to think about consequence. You cannot just take it. So that's why we work with the youth for them to understand, because we are never going to stop drug dealing. This is the second biggest industry in the world. I mean, if it's not the first, before it was armament, but now we have all this technology going on. So this is the biggest, as I consider, the weapon of mass destruction. Because if we inflict this in a country, you finish with the country, you conquer the country. So, I mean, our aim is to make the youth understand that the drug addiction stop here. You are the only one who can do that. Don't rely on enforcement agents. Don't rely. You are alone in this world anyways. So what you want for yourself, you have to decide. And I mean, obviously, drug addiction is going to get a very limited choices, because who will want to marry you?
Stigma is there.
And what about your parents? Don't you think about your parents? From one individual with problems, and it goes like this. And then, of course, the future is compromised. It's the future of your nation is compromised.
I'm going to ask you about your country, Brazil. Although you've been living in Pakistan for 26 years, but in Brazil, you also have the same culture of mafia and a lot of other vices associated with it. How did they deal with drugs and drug abuse?
This problem of drug abuse is all over, because all over the world is the biggest problem that I think the world is facing now. It's mental health. It doesn't mean that person who suffers with mental health is a drug addict, but certainly a drug addict will have a problem of mental health. So they are all interconnected. Brazil, it's a crime, but I mean, depends of the government that comes in. This government there, for instance, on cannabis is very relaxed. But it is, of course, also showing scientifically the effects of cannabis. What they say that the scientific report is according to who paid the scientific report. So it's we get influence, also say that it's scientific. So we think that that's the truth and not. The truth is that whatever you cannot live without, apart from food, is something that is not right. We talk about even the pharmacies. They promise the earth. And it's like you enter the pharmacy, all your problems is going to be solved in that place. I mean, if you have a sleeping problem, you take that. If you don't have if you sleep too much, you take something else. And if you have something that you feel depressed, you're going to take something that will make you feel better. So there is always a solution inside the pharmacy. For God's sake, if we are talking about organic world and giving such an importance to organic food, and you go and drug yourself in the pharmacy, and the so-called legal drugs, no? The acceptable drugs, I mean, it's a big contradiction. So we have to really think what has been sold to us What are the promise being given? Is it real or not? So it's all, at the end of the day, rely in your own decisions.
What is one thing that you would want youth to actually understand, whoever is watching this interview?
Till the age of 25, even sometimes early, you are forming your cortex. And this is part of your brain that are the decision makers. So during that period, whatever you do, it will reflect later on. So there's something, it's not cool to be drug addict. It's cool to be without drug, to live as I say, God made us so perfect that you can stimulate yourself with the sports, with something to find a passion. Because live without a passion, it's a very sad situation. I mean, your passion can be cooking, your passion can be drawing, your passion, most of all, it's exercise. Today, people are paying, thousands for academy. Just go up in the Margalla and go down. It's for free. There is no excuse not for you to stimulate your own, kick, because the kick is within. So I'm saying that don't be there. It's okay to say no. I mean, to decide. You can tell this person who thinks that he's a cool guy and trying to influence you that, let's meet in 10 years' time and see where are we and how, we're doing. So compare yourself. Don't succumb to peer pressure. That's first. And for the parents, as I say, they are not your friends. They are your kids. And in my case, when I lost Karim, the first thing that you have is the feeling of a guilt that you feel as a parent. I had given him everything and didn't work. I lost him. So it's not. Today you think that we have to be good, accept all what your kids are doing. No, don't accept, because they will thank you later on to be tough. So it's important to understand, the kids to understand that this is not good for them. It's imperative, because this is the success of the drug prevention, is when you understand that's not good for me and you stop there. So there's a lot of temptation around, and I think that you can make use of your body and mind in a more constructive way. And, you just have to see what is a life of someone with the substance abuse in a life of someone that is not. So this comparator, it's right there. And it's a shared responsibility. You are responsible for your own thing. Blame the world, but it's not the answer. The answer is within you.
So the key is to say no and to be responsible for your own body's health. Thank you very much, Cristina, for this conversation.
Nice to be with you, Aliya.
Dear viewers, we are with this podcast trying to make Pakistan safer and better for the youth. If you know somebody who's struggling with drug abuse, speak to them. Don't shun them away. Listen to them and do ask for help. We believe healing is real and prevention is even better.